Livestock farming is unique. Farmers toil night and day to ensure that animal protein is available to all. They face enormous challenges, they take risks, and they have so many stories to tell. And of course, we are always here to listen to their stories. I am Oloruntobi Olusegun, and I welcome you to another episode of my livestock story on Livestock Trend TV. Today, I am with another experienced livestock farmer, a smallholder farmer here in Oyo State, Nigeria, and he's going to be telling us a story of his challenges, of his beginnings, of his innovations, of his requests to policymakers, to governments, and even the global community. It is our belief that this edition of My Livestock Story will encourage a young farmer to go back to livestock farming, and is going to also encourage gender inclusion in livestock production in Africa. And today, welcome with me, Mr. Adewale Julius Akinpelu. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the show, sir. I would like to know your story. What do you do at OpenSource Farm? How did you start? Why livestock farming?
At OpenSource Farm, we are mostly or majorly into poultry beds. Okay. We deal with layers, broilers, turkeys. Then we have some part of ruminants, which is goats and sheep. And we started almost 11 years ago, 2013, February. And the journey has been a roller coaster. I would say a roller coaster, full of ups and downs. And the most important thing is consistency in the field, because today you are up, tomorrow you might be down, so you have to be on the ride.
But why did you choose livestock farming?
Agric chose me. I didn't choose Agric. So from a young age, I've had passion for tech, ICT. So one way or the other, I find myself studying Agric in the university. And from the university days, I found myself during NYSC. I found myself serving at a farm, a very prominent one at that. So at the inception of the farm, I was posted there. So the experience I got from starting up a farm was from the NYSC. So it was just a natural transition for me to, like, once I was done with my youth service, I started up my own farm since I have a farmland.
Can you take me through the process of starting? How did you start? How did you, step by step, how did you get your land? How did you raise your capital? How did you get the first set of animals? I would like to know that story.
Okay. Immediately I finished from university studying agriculture from the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, which is FUNAB now. We've been equipped with a lot of technical and practical experiences. So that was what I used on the field while I was serving. And immediately I finished NYSC. By the virtue of me serving on farm, I had the opportunity to save, because we hardly spend money while you're on farm. We hardly go out, only for CDS. So it was a huge opportunity for me to save while I earn money from my PPA. I also got from the government. So all this money I hardly spend, we were being fed on farm. Housing accommodation was on farm. So all the money I saved up back then, plus loans from my parents and majorly my parents, I just kick-started when I left Fort Worth Farms at Ogun State, Awo. And my first batch of birds were the batch of birds that I raised at the farm. So they were to stock like we stocked the 11,000 birds, which we brooded, and from there the pen that was built could only accommodate 10,000 birds. So the leftovers were to be sold when I finished. So I just bought from them.
when you were starting, was there a specific or a particular mentor that trained you or mentored you whenever you run into a challenge? Was there a kind of mentor?
Yeah. The most important when going into any business, you need to like do a feasibility study and know people that can lead you by hand. I have mentors in different aspects. So there was actually a mentor in the agricultural space for me at that particular point in time, and he was also a practicing farmer at that particular point in time too. He's still a practicing farmer, and he gave advice, he gave directions, which helped till today.
At what point did you start thinking of recruiting labor on your farm? At what point did you at first, in the beginning, did you recruit labor? Did you have workers that work with you, or you were just the only one? And then at what point did you, and then what are the other challenges that you encountered?
At the inception, for most entrepreneurs, you start with yourself, not employing labor. Okay. So at inception, I did the whole farm work myself, and just took like a year thereabouts before I got a worker on farm, and that has been a whole ball game. Worker, because it's a thing to control your birds. It's a thing to control humans, and like the popular saying that human beings are the most difficult animal to control. So it's not as if you would have good workers, of course, but then whatever at the beginning must definitely have an end. But the most annoying part of getting workers in Nigeria is that you get to employ them, you don't even get to sack them. In most cases, they just elope. Especially in this agricultural field, they elope, and
elope meaning that they run away.
Yes. So the point of training and retraining and training and retraining, because they are not skilled labor. So most times you get to like train people, and the next morning you hear my father is sick, my mom is sick. Whereas it's a blatant lie, maybe they got in another offer, or they just for one reason or the other want to leave.
So this is still a major challenge to farmers in Nigeria, that when you have invested in a particular workforce and they just suddenly abscond from duty. Okay, so let me ask you, ever since you started this business, have you recorded any huge loss? Because we do hear that livestock business is risky. What does that mean to you?
Yes, I did at a particular point in time.
How did it happen?
It was a viral outbreak, and it's called Gumboro. So immediately it started, I knew I was in for it, and the Gumboro is merciless. So it wiped like almost half of my flock. Wow. So at that particular point in time, so the loss is there, but then just have to keep on going.
Mr. Akinpelu, the market is having to react to the high inflation rates, and this I'm aware that is affecting livestock farmers also, most especially poultry farmers. So I want to know, how have you been coping? How have you been adjusting? How have you been what have you been doing to cut costs or to manage the high cost of feed so that it doesn't affect your production?
That brings us to where you have to be like innovative and being smart as a farmer at every point in time. That because in Nigeria we always have one issue or the other, and whatever challenges that you are facing, with experience you would know when to like transition from finished feed to milled feed. Okay. So when you are, if you've been in the field for a while, you would know that there are seasons in poultry industry. Okay. You have the off season, you have the in season, whereby maybe for the meats you have off season and in season. Then for the eggs you have period where you have gluts and where the sales are going on smoothly. So for inflation that we're experiencing currently, there are means whereby farmers tweak feed, but to an extent that they can tweak the feed production to reduce the cost and still get a very good quality feed. So it's just about being like technically smart, while some people call it being street smart, like know how to maneuver different issues, know when to like get another feed additive, how to include some alternative feed ingredients to introduce them to your feed, and know the level of inclusion.
again, you are given the privilege of starting all over again, what would you do differently? What do you think you would be glad to do differently this time around?
That's a good question. If I'm to start all over again, since I've learned a lot, that's why I'm smiling. I would not have a permanent structure. I would probably rent out farms. So that overhead costs would have probably gone into my production cycle, because it's from experience actually. I wouldn't get anything permanent. I would just rent. I learned that from the business aspect of the business.
Now I want to give you this opportunity to make a request for investors, from the global community, from whoever is willing to partner. What kind of support do you need from?
Personally, I would say I would need an investor in EVC, a venture capitalist, so that would come and look at, because agric is quite risky, then as risky as agric is, it's also quite profitable. So the production aspect of it might not be that catchy, but then if I handle the production aspect of it, then I would need someone that will come in the other value chain of maybe processing, maybe packaging and transportation. So just to own more of the value chain of agriculture. At least I'm already in the production aspect of it, so to take it a step further, I'll need someone to come in.
I believe this business has the potential to scale.
Of course it does.
To scale as high as what? How many beds how many eggs per day? How many beds do you need to scale?
The dream is big. I don't know if I can share it online, but then let's just say there are a lot of people in this agric space that are doing wonderfully well. Not small other farmers right now, but then the big names in the industry doing great things. I aspire to probably be amongst the big names, so to the tunes of thousands of beds then. Yes.
And,
hundreds of thousands of beds, not even tens.
Eggs also. I've been speaking with Mr. Akinpelu Adewale Julius, the CEO and founder of OpenSource Farms, and we have been discussing his story on my Livestock-Story Series on Livestock Trend TV. If you have any questions or any inquiries for him, you can always see his contact on the screen and you can reach out to him. If you are willing to partner with him and to take his business to his dream of having hundreds of thousands of birds every day, producing hundreds of thousands of eggs every day, you are also permitted to reach out to him. If you have a story that you want the world to hear, we are always here to join you on your farm and hear your story to the world. My name is Tobi Olusegun, and I want to thank you for joining us for another episode of my livestock story on Livestock Trend TV. You can reach out to us on all of our social media handles, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. It is Livestock Trend TV, and you can always reach us also on our WhatsApp handles. The phone numbers are there on the screen. Till the next time that I'm going to be giving you another episode of my livestock story, please ensure that you support a farmer. Thank you very much.